Hi students, this is Leslie. We're moving on to the second part of modeling the Winterset library. And so after you have extruded your curves as demonstrated in the previous tutorials, the next thing you're going to want to do is focus on the facade, the front facade or the front of the building. So we are going to be using pictures to model what is on the facade. So the best way to do this, again, is to use real lines from Illustrator and then take that over into Rhino. So I have imported a montage picture. You can see based on this sort of split here, they were two pictures and I kind of just pasted them together. We're going to trace over this in order to understand the way the facade is constructed. So again, I got this image from the SciBox, and in our folder there's Winterset modeling docs and then all these images. Montage are right here. One's PSD, which you don't need. JPEGs are fine. And then these two, which we'll use later. So the first thing I'm going to do after I imported this image and it came in this big, you can either adjust using the right marquee and holding shift so it scales accurately. But I'm just making it the size of the document because that's what I'm used to. And I'm essentially going to draw over this, and as you can see, it's not true, right? Like this side is crooked. It seems like this side is shorter than this side, when in reality they're probably closer to the same based on our plans. So we're just looking for general outlines again. Maybe this box, the door area, and where these sort of columns live. Also maybe like where this material is changing. So very general. We can stretch it again in Rhino when we get there. So what I'm going to do is make boxes. Instead of white, I'm going to have them be no fill and black lines, just so it's easy for me to see. And I'm going to try and draw a box over again. I know it's not going to be right because you can see here it's correct, but when I drag it all the way over here, it's very far off. But that's okay for now. We're just looking for general things. I'm going to draw a box here. I want to draw a box here that sort of represents this material change. I'm going to draw another box here, same sort of concept. Draw between these pillars where this is a black brick instead of a window. Might even draw up here that little edge, which is essentially the roof barrier. So now we're representing material, window distribution. That's pretty good. Let's go ahead and try and draw this box in. And then again, it's like this one is not set perfectly, but what we can do is go over here, grab these two elements, these three elements, which would essentially extend to the next side, and holding down Alt and dragging, Alt and Shift to drag it straight onto the side, I can basically duplicate what was over here. And let's look at the plan really quickly. It seems that between here and here, it is relatively similar distance. So in that sort of sense, I'm going to trust that these will be equal and leave it at that for now. I'm going to use the plan to sort of figure out where these locations are next. So this is essentially to get this material change, general ideas of where everything is. Again, I'm just grabbing the photo now because I don't need it and hitting delete, and this is what's left, which is a rather good example of the elevation. You can go and like correct some of the things that you didn't see because you had the picture on, but for the most part this is pretty good, pretty basic, and all you really need at this point. Okay, so again, I'm going to go ahead, file, save as. I'm going to call this front elevation as an Illustrator document, and with that, I'm going to open that back up again in my Rhino file.